Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 103. I'm your host, James Shotwell, and I'm so happy you could join us today. My guest this week is a good friend of mine named Jayce Levi, but some of you may know him better as Trapman from Astro Safari USA, or for the purposes of today's conversation, the guy behind MySpace sensation band Secret Dino Club. Now, if you've never heard of Secret Dino Club, allow me to take you on a brief trip through history. The year is 2006. MySpace is starting to boom. Social media is the new big thing. And somewhere in the non-urban part of New York State, a boy named Jayce Levi starts recording music under the name Secret Dino Club. He doesn't have any plans to make it any specific style. He's not trying to do anything that is necessarily groundbreaking. He's just trying to write music that he loves, and he starts uploading it online. He releases this song called .com, which we'll play a little bit of here in a bit. And things just kind of blow up. He becomes an internet sensation before we really had a term for such a thing. He starts being one of the top trending artists on MySpace, and he gets a record deal. And everything starts lining up. He's going to have that big tour, he's going to have that big album, and it's all going to come together. But then, in 2008, something happens that's kind of unusual. The album, which was completed before Jayce even signed the contract, never comes out. The label that he signed to goes the wayside, and suddenly he's left without any of the things that he thought he was going to have. But from that moment, he finds a path to a career in the industry that has now spanned more than a decade of being able to call himself a professional musician who makes a living writing music. That's what Jayce does, and that's what he's here to talk about today. But we're largely going to focus on this mythic, in a way, lost album. This album that up until a couple of months ago, when Jayce finally got ownership of the record back, was only heard by a handful of people. A handful of people, I might add, who really believed in the ability of him and his talent to go places and really should have taken off. But that moment never happened. That moment he was promised and the contract just didn't come together. And he doesn't hold any bad reservations about it because, as we'll discuss, other opportunities came and life just kind of worked out, as it happens to do. But on this episode, as we've been running this theme of talking to artists who are on the rise or who are on the cusp of having their big moment, I thought it was kind of important to talk to somebody who thought they were going to have their moment, didn't, and still found a way to have a series of amazing moments that included being able to see the songs they created performed in front of tens of thousands of people. Jayce's career is one that continues to defy everybody's expectations, and I think that there's a lot people can learn from his easygoing attitude towards the business and life in general. Now, before I get to the show, I do want to tell you a few quick things. You probably know what they are, but let's get to them anyways. This episode of Inside Music is brought to you by Holix, the music industry's leading digital promotional distribution platform. And what that means is that Holix works with record labels, managers, and independent artists from all over the world to share new and unreleased music without fear of piracy. Should leaks occur, and unfortunately, even in 2017 they still do, Holix has a system that not only makes it possible to remove links from the internet, but find the people responsible and take action. For more information on Holix and access to your free 30-day trial, visit holix.com. That's HAULIX.com. I also want to point out that we are going to be at the Millennium Music Conference in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania later this month. I believe that our panel is on February 24th, if that's next Friday. And it's related to public relations in the industry. I'm going to be speaking with some of the people who help bands like Five Finger Death Punch rise to success. It's going to be a huge event. So if you want to look it up online, it's Millennium Music Conference. Registration is still open. It's fairly affordable. And if you live in Central PA, we'd love to see you. And finally, I got to ask you to support Jayce's work. It's kind of hard right now, as we'll discuss in the episode. He's a little bit in between projects, but he's working on a new Secret Dino Club album right now, which is part of the reason why this conversation finally got to happen. And I just want you to keep an eye out for everything he has going on. He's very active on social networks. Just search Jayce Levi and you're certain to find him. He even has a new YouTube show where he talks about wrestling, if that's the kind of thing you're into. But with a decade of experience under my belt, I can honestly say Jayce is one of the kindest souls I've met in this industry, and anyone would be lucky to know him and follow his work, so please do that. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play a little music from the album we're about to discuss and get to my conversation with Jayce. Thanks so much for listening. I'll talk to you next week.
You know I memorized all your favorite things, your favorite songs and how to sing. You played the strings and found my tone. I love you so much with all my bones. Well, it's been 3 years since I met you. Can't believe all the things that we've been through. You watch me grow up, I watch you change. Thought one day that we share a last name.
It's really nice to know that you think we're all out.
down. It ain't no secret, boy, you know I glow inside when I'm with you. And just like sunshine, girl, I hold you.
So where are you at today, man?
Well, now I live in Marina del Rey, California.
How long have you been there?
I've been here for I moved in with my girlfriend like 9 months ago. Before that, I lived in Sherman Oaks for like 2 to 3 years about. But yeah, I guess I've been in California for a while now. Doesn't seem like it, but
Yeah, what initially led you to move out there?
well, when I first moved out, it was because my band Astral Safari we had a lot of stuff going on in the TV world, and we were like, we need to move. So we got a house. We got a house together and like moved in, and we were pitching a TV show with our music, and that's what we were doing, I guess. And we spent a couple of years there. It didn't really work out. I think a lot of people lost interest and but we got pretty far along in it, and it was a good experience. I learned so much about TV. I had no idea what that was even about or this. So
I feel like a lot of your career could be summarized as like this thing almost happened and then it ultimately doesn't work out.
yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like, yeah, a lot of things don't work out, but enough has worked out where I've done music as a job for a decade. So I can't be too upset about it.
That's better than most.
Yeah, I feel like I outlasted most of the people, who used to make fun of me or something. I feel like I won.
Well, that's good. I want to take it back
because I'm still doing it.
Exactly, and I want to take people back to the beginning because you do kind of rise up from an unlikely place, and then it all is unlikely. The Jayce story is an unlikely one.
Most of it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I started just in a really small town. I was from Saratoga Springs, New York. I didn't really wasn't really a music going on there. I didn't know anyone. I was the only person from my high school who'd ever even been in like a band. That was like unheard of. And started playing music, but it was tough playing music kind of locally, so I just thought I really had to get on the internet thing and do that. So I just started making music on my own on the internet. But I don't know what I was really expecting to happen with it. Not what happened, that's for sure.
Yeah, so when did you first start making, I guess when did you start making music, and when did you really start promoting yourself online? Like when were you like, okay, this is a thing I'm going to do now?
Well, I'd been in like, background different local bands playing drums, all different genres. I was in a country band, I was in a screamo band, I was in any band that I could play in. I was just like, I want to be in a band, like whatever it takes. Like I'm down with all music. Like I just want to do this. And I started doing that really when I was like 15. I went on my first tour playing drums when I was 16, and from then on, I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do, because there was nothing going on in my town really at all. There was just nothing to do, and I was just loving life, traveling and playing music. So I started doing that, but it was frustrating because I didn't feel like anyone else in any of those situations was as committed as I was to making music happen full time. So I was I'd say I was about 17 or 18 when I started recording music on my own. And then I started putting it online, like not really thinking about promoting it. Just like I wanted to put up my music to show my friends. And then eventually, after like 30 songs or 40 songs, some of them started to like get popular, and I was like, I should take this seriously and start promoting online and doing that kind of thing. But everyone around me and in my town thought I was nuts, because I was just like showing up by places by myself, and I was using tracks. No one had ever heard of tracks at that point, like live tracks. And I was just playing with like a CD player or something, but everyone thought I was bad. Everyone thought I was the worst.
Oh,
But
all right.
I, and I was bad for a while. Now if I get up on a stage, I feel confident enough that I could do something of talent. But at that point, I feel bad for anyone who had to sit through a lot of that.
Well, where did the name come from? So this is like for time, place. This is early MySpace days, right?
Yeah,
Basically.
right at the beginning of MySpace, I really took a liking to MySpace. I thought it was just great. And yeah, the name, I had started a band with this other girl from my high school, and that was just the name we came up with, Secret Dino Club. And we were gonna, I think we had like these outfits we were gonna sew up of us being like some sort of dinosaurs, but then that never happened, and like I never made the costumes or anything. And later I was just like, oh, I kind of like that name, and I just kept it. And I never really looked back. Like people gave me shit about it all the time, but I thought it was funny, so I still do. I still love it.
It's a great name. Now for me, I guess the way I found out about you is because I dated a girl who like really loved your music, and she had found you on like MySpace, and she was like, "You've got to hear this thing." So I guess for you, when did you start noticing that like I guess people outside maybe it was becoming a thing unto itself, like people were actually starting to give a damn about what you were doing?
Oh, I put out this one song .com.
Hey yo, ASL baby, you look fly, date me, make me go crazy. Try to amaze me, keeps it real low. Chat rooms ago, sweetheart, cupcake, I'll be there for show. You spin mad game from your AOL screen name, giving me the links and sending me the freeze frames. XO princess.
That song really changed everything, like pretty much overnight. I mean, before that, I was putting up songs and they'd get like a couple plays, and I knew who each one of them were. And then I put that song out, and all of a sudden I woke up and it was like I was in a totally different band after I put that song out. All of a sudden people liked even songs I put out before that no one would even give me the time of day. People just really liked that song .com, which I remember recording in my grandfather's house when he wasn't home. I was like, it's kind of loud in my house. I'm going to break into my grandfather's house and go record this song real quick on my laptop mic. And I did that, and I recorded that song in like 20 minutes. And like you can even, if you listen back now, you can hear the guitar's like out of tune. There's like a wrong note in the bass. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but for whatever reason, that was the song that really changed everything for me.
Now, no one was making money with MySpace, so when did you actually start making some money as Secret Dino Club?
Well, it started when they had this thing called Snowcap, and you could like, you could sell your music. This is before you could really get your music on iTunes and stuff. There's a thing called Snowcap, and it was like a little store thing that went under your player on MySpace, and people could buy your songs off of that. So I started doing that early, and that did all right for me. I was making some money, but I didn't really, at that point, I didn't really count on that. I made all my money from playing concerts. I would go and sell merch, and that's where all my money came from. I didn't really ever make money from iTunes until much later.
And you had a name that was like perfect for merchandising because you could do anything with it.
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff with it, and I think that for the time and the mood everyone was in, it was just working out. I don't really know. I look back and I'm like, oh, it looks like I planned all this, but at the time I didn't really know what I was doing at all. Like I was just doing stuff I thought was cool as I went along, and trying to just make my MySpace big. That's the main goal.
Yeah, it's weird to say that now in hindsight, and be like, but that was what we obsessed over at the time.
Yeah, yeah. And I I enjoyed it, and I think I made a lot of even friends I still have today. Even you or anyone, I wouldn't even really exist without MySpace. And it's how even JP, my the guy I've written pretty much every song I ever wrote, I we really met on MySpace, uh, and that changed history for me. So I have no problem talking about MySpace. I love MySpace.
I know I miss it too a lot. I do.
I just think I mean a lot of it's the music scene then too is a lot different. There are a lot more like independent venues and stuff where people could. I feel like it was a little easier to get concerts going than it is now, but a lot of that was because of MySpace. MySpace just made the demand of concerts and concert venues go way up. There were just way more bands people wanted to go see.
Yeah, it led
I
to this
felt that.
weird boom.
Yeah.
It was a boom in every genre. It was like because you like specifically like your music didn't really fall into a genre that was really a thing before the age of MySpace, and then all of a sudden you had a song that like referenced MySpace, and it kind of became this poster child for this little this niche that you could have in that community.
Yeah, and like when I put out music, like I didn't think I was going to go into like the pop punk world or whatever that is, or I don't know what kind of music you call that, like MySpace pop punk music, power pop or something. I didn't think that's what my music was. I never listened to that kind of music growing up. I listened to like rap, and I was trying to just like I wanted to sound like rappers. I didn't even know about Newfound Glory and stuff till I was a lot older. Never even heard of that stuff. So it was just kind of crazy. I ended up in that world because that was not ever like my intention. I didn't even know what it was.
So the kind of the thing that got the ball rolling on us having this conversation was that you recently hit up on this 10-year anniversary of this whole weird incident, and it kind of comes as a result of of the popularity of your MySpace page. So
Yeah,
so like I guess so from my what I know of it is that you got really big, and then like labels came calling, and it came together, and then it fell apart. But for you, like when did it start? Like when did labels start reaching out, and then like how did that whole process go for you?
I had recorded a bunch of new songs all together with JP. It was the first songs I ever did with JP. He recorded me in his mom's basement, and there was like literally every song that came out. That was like those were the first 10 songs we ever did together. We kept every one we did, and we did these songs. I think at first we did like 6 we had done, and I was planning on putting out an EP to my fans that I just had from MySpace. I wasn't really planning on trying to get a record deal or anything. When I made that, I didn't even think that was a possibility, and I was doing pretty good as an independent artist. That I didn't really need to. I didn't feel like I need to sign to a label. I didn't really have any recording costs. I didn't do anything, so I just was going to put this EP out, and I sent it to a friend of mine to help me with PR. And one of the people she sent the album to review it leaked the album on It Leaked, and it got like hundreds of thousands of downloads. And that same night when it leaked, then it got all these crazy downloads, and then all these record labels started hitting me up because it was on It Leaked. That was really what changed it, because it was just like on the front page there for so long, and people were downloading it like crazy. I think a lot of it because the artwork was interesting and people had no idea what it was. But yeah, that was really the start of it. So then all the labels contacting me were like, do not put this album out, like don't put it out, like you need a better plan for it and all this stuff. So I canceled it from iTunes because I was stupid. And
I like that.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Like at the time, I was like, oh, I need to listen to these people. They know what they're talking about.
Mm.
And, because it was the first time anyone like that had ever even talked to me. So I was just like, you know what? Maybe that is a better idea. Maybe I should wait. In hindsight, that was probably a bonehead move. But yeah, so I took it down. I waited, and then I just kind of started weighing my options because there were record labels asking me what I wanted to do, and just kind of questions I'd never even thought about before. What is your future in music? Like, what are your goals? All these things. I didn't really have goals. I was just like, I want to play music. It wasn't all, and a lot of things they're talking about, I didn't even know what they're talking about. And they're asking me if I wanted to write for other people, and I'd never even thought about that before. So there was a lot really fast. Even though I spent years like building this, it seemed like I spent years and nothing really happened. Then all of a sudden one night everything was different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of weighed my options, and then on paper I took what was the best option on paper, and that's when I ended up signing to Drive-Thru.
Which was like a huge deal at the time because Drive-Thru was still like major.
Yeah, things had kind of winded down for them, and I knew that when I signed. I knew that it wasn't what it was before, but it seemed like when I signed that they had a lot of the same resources, and maybe the owners weren't as passionate about it anymore, or I don't know. A lot of me wanted to just do it because a lot of people I knew that had talked shit about me, that's what they wanted to do. So I was like, what could be better than this? Than signing a Drive-Thru and just making all these people feel that way. At the time, I was concerned about things like that, I think. And it was funny. It was kind of the ultimate troll. I love it. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that was a good decision or not. I couldn't really tell you. Because without that decision, everything would be way different for me, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, and we'll get there in a second, but this whole thing kind of ends up being one of those situations where like the immediate thing doesn't work out, but long term it still works to your benefit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, things probably should have went differently on both ends. I don't think there's two sides to every story though. So, I can't fully blame anyone else for that. I mean, at the end of the day, I control my own destiny in music with the songs that I write. So,
Well, I do want to know about this record because so there's this record that you're gonna put out for Drive-Thru, and
yeah,
everything's together. I mean, it was done. It had artwork. It had everything.
the album was done, and they had said it was done before I even signed.
All right.
They were like, the album's done. So
Yeah, I remember you showing me the artwork like before you told me the Drive-Thru to use. You were like, "This is what I'm doing next. It's ready."
yeah, and it was done. I don't know. I record really fast. Like, I probably don't record as often as I should, but when I go to record an album, like, it's done in a week or something. So I'm not one to take a long time. So I was pumped that it was done because I thought that meant that as soon as I signed, I was just going to be collecting all the stuff in the contract. Like, oh, well, the album's done. So
Exactly.
here comes my money and my new van and all this cool swag I got in this contract I signed. But
Not the case.
didn't really end up that way.
Did you know right away that things weren't going the way that you thought they might, or did it take you a couple of months to be like, "Uh-oh"?
Well, looking back now, it's been so long since that time. I'm trying to really think like what was going on in my head. I remember the first time I really signed to them before I had like met them in person. Like, I mean, I had talked to them for months and months on the phone and with a lawyer and all these things, but I had never really met up with them until after I had signed. So we had this really kind of interesting first meeting. We went to some Italian restaurant, actually like right down the street from my house now, and we just started discussing like a plan. And I remember discussing that plan and leaving that meeting being like, I don't truly know if we're on the same page here, like, and I don't remember what my plan was at the time or what theirs was, but I just remember they didn't really match up. Whoever was right or wrong is debatable, but I can remember even from right off the bat there just being a little bit of uh, tension.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and they're kind of they're quirky people, So I also was just meeting them for the first time, so I was a little, and I'm definitely quirky as well. So I think the combination of our personalities and like energies was just kind of shocked at first because we're very different from each other.
Yeah. I would identify you both as parties where anyone I meet that knows either of you has their own like story about you. Where they're like, oh, they have a Jay story or they have a Richard story if it's a drive-through thing. They're like, let me tell you
Yeah,
my Richard story.
yeah, I don't know. I probably um I probably dealt with Richard uh more than Stephanie, but I don't, they are very successful.
Yeah.
They're, so they are very opinionated, but a lot of times they're right. And, uh, I don't know. I don't really remember the specifics at that time of like right at the beginning what was going on. I just remember being antsy to get my money because I had just been through a bunch of stuff. Like right after I signed, we went I shared a van, or what did we do? We went on a like this thing with the Jonas Brothers, and it was me and my band at the time, and All Star Weekend, and we went together to like Jonas Brothers concerts, and we were playing outside and stuff.
Yeah. I remember that's what you and I did in Boston that one day. I followed you
Yeah,
around while you did that.
and it was really great for them. I mean, All Star Weekend, I think they really benefited from that. For me, not so much. I don't know that I wasted time. I don't really think I'm ever wasting time, but did I ever see any of the people from those shows like online or at any of my concerts? That's debatable. I didn't have very many 5 and 7 year olds showing up
True.
concert, you know, but it was a good experience, and it kind of created a bond with me and All Star Weekend that like really benefited me in the future big time. So I think overall that experience was kind of crazy. But back to why I was after my money uh, during that little tour, my van like just broke down in the middle of nowhere, and I just left it and got in All Star Weekend's van, and we started sharing a van from that point. And then a couple days after that, we got in this massive crash. A semi truck came from behind us and completely totaled everything. I lost all my gear. Um, my drummer had like hurt his shoulder real bad and had like bad whiplash, and we had a magician with us, and he bit through his lip, and it was like a pretty awful crash. But all my gear was gone. I had no van anymore, so I was like antsy to get this money for my record, which was done. I thought I'd done all the work. I was like, let's get this money, let's get this album out, like let's do it. but I don't know, things weren't, I think politically and like with their plans of what they wanted to do with the album, things just weren't going the way they wanted them to. I don't really know why. Um,
Now, did they call you? Did they at some point just be like, "So we're not going to release this record," or did it just? Was there a date at
no,
some point?
no. Well, they kept saying like they were waiting for something to happen. I kept having meetings with like major record labels, and I think their plan was to use their creativity and their resources, and partner up with like a major label to use their money basically and their bigger resources and to just try to make it the best project they could. And it was just a lot of I don't know, it seemed like a lot of doors were shut along the way, like probably things I didn't even know about. And I remember a couple times I had a couple meetings. I got a meeting at Def Jam or Island or whatever it was, and the guy was just like point blank told me like, yeah, like we're not gonna do any co-deals with Drive-Thru. And I don't really know what the reason was behind that, whether they didn't want to do any deals at all with the other labels or whether they specifically didn't want to do it with them. I don't really know, and I don't want to make assumptions either way, but at the time I probably felt like it was their fault. Now looking back, I don't know.
Well, that's good hindsight for you. So it just never comes to pass. So do you remember like a point being like, okay, I've got to do something else, or I should move on now? Because by like 2009, and even before that, you this thing where you're writing for other people kind of starts to take off on the side.
Yeah. Well, I did the first writing for someone else. I did a tour with We Are the In Crowd, and they had like asked me um, to write with them, and I never thought about it before, but I was friends with them. I shared a van with them too for like a while, going on tour with them, and I don't know, it just felt right, and I had a song that I thought would work for them. I was like, here, you guys have that song, but that was really my first thing, and I didn't think about it again after that. Like, oh, I should write for other people. It was just kind of a one-off thing, and then JP and I went on a trip to write mainly for his band at the time, assigned to RCA, his band Young and Divine, and we were going to try to write some songs for them. And we did a few writing sessions with some different producers and stuff, which was new to me. I'd never really done that before. And we wrote this one song called Not Your Birthday on that trip. And at the same time, also our weekend was looking for a single. And somehow they heard that song, or we played that song for someone there, and they wanted to do that song. So they had a huge marketing push behind them, and they just had a lot of the right pieces in place. And Richard was like, we got to have this song. Let's do it. Like, let's make this huge. They're going to put it in a movie, all this stuff. So I thought it was a great opportunity, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then the label was so excited about that song, like, let's put them in the studio with these guys and do, try to see how many songs we can do. So that was really the first time where I was like, whoa, like I could do this, and maybe it doesn't really matter as much what happens with my own artist music, because that's not the only way I could make money and survive in music. Nothing's going to stop me really from making new songs myself or whatever, but it seemed like a good option because I was kind of stuck with my own music and with the label, but at the same time I'm still working with the same people with All Star Weekend because they manage them. So I was like, well, if All Star Weekend does really good, maybe there'll be opportunities for my band along the way, which I don't really know that worked out, but yeah, I don't know that Yeah, I'm not real sure what I'm trying to explain here.
No, I follow you. I follow you. It's you don't know that it might not necessarily be a bad thing that things went the way they did.
Yeah, not necessarily. That opportunity to do the also weekend single, working with Disney was just the best. I mean, I'd been used to labels and people not paying me royalty stuff, and they were just number one at contact and making sure they send the money right. And because royalties are very confusing. I don't know if you know this, but most independent record labels, they don't even bother sending royalties.
I can imagine.
They're so far behind with other crap. They're paying for, I don't know, 1 million skateboard decks and stuff. They don't
Yeah.
send me $10 or
About
whatever.
to say they don't have time to send you $7 every 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the last check I got from an independent label was like 38 cents.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was like, at this point, guys, like, I'm okay with not getting 38 cents. I've let that one go. But yeah, but working with them, and I really feel like the album that I wrote for them was would have been what my next album would have been.
So you still got to kind of get all that stuff out and
yeah, I mean, it really gave as much as it's Disney and stuff, I really had free reign to do whatever I wanted. There were no rules or anything. I mean, we were the first people to have a song that played on the Disney Channel that had to be edited.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, I was the first person to ever get a song on Disney Channel that had to be an edited version. So that was pretty cool, I guess.
I guess that's like your niche.
Yeah, like I don't know that that's something to be proud of or not.
It is.
Kind of, pushing the boundaries, I guess,
of Disney Channel.
Yeah, or just Disney in general. I mean, Hollywood Records, though, they're no stranger to controversy. They were the first people to sign the Insane Clown Posse.
There you go.
But then they got so much flack from the parents that they just dropped them.
Well, let me say something I always find so interesting about you is that you seem to have like no real sense of ego about your songwriting, because some people would be like, well, I could write for other people, but then it's not me, it's not mine. But you seem to be like, well, as long as I get to create, that's kind of what matters.
Oh yeah, I mean, whether I wrote the song or not, I got to see my songs played in front of 20,000 people with Selena Gomez and stuff, so you can't tell me that's not as fulfilling. Your song's being played for all these people. What's the difference?
Yeah.
I always felt that way. Like a hit song is a hit song no matter who's singing it. And if you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. Like that's why all the big hit stars, almost all of them, have other writing credits on their hits, because they know.
They know.
Yeah.
Now, are you and JP still writing together?
Yeah, we're actually working on a new album right now. He's got a new project coming out with Spotify soon called Slopes, and it's I think it's awesome. We did I think I did like 5 or 6 songs with him on that. I'm not sure how many are making his first release, but I love it. It sounds awesome. It's like more hip hop probably than anything else.
Not so poppy like Young and Divine material.
No. I mean, all the songs are about the same things. They're like talking about what, I don't know, weed, popping Zans, all that you need to do to be a rap star.
I really feel like Young and Divine is another one of those groups. I needed to get JP on the show to tell his side of this whole saga, but I always feel like his songs are great and no one ever hears them, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, at the same time as all this going on, he's got a totally different thing going on over there.
Yeah.
But
I might have to I'll probably tuck Fucks with the Boy in here somewhere just so people can hear it, because I feel like that's such a good song from last year and nobody heard it.
Yeah, I mean, he does pretty well on Spotify. That's his niche.
That's his niche, the internet stream subscription services.
Yeah, Spotify is really he's doing great on Spotify. So
And now, do you guys still do Astro Safari together?
no, well, after the TV show we were working on kind of ran its course. We just thought, maybe
Maybe it's a sign.
yeah, maybe that's the sign. I don't know. I would probably keep doing it, but he's doing so much on Spotify, and I'm trying to bring my band back, and I think we're excited about that now. I don't know if it's done forever, but we really stretched that one to the limit with the TV stuff. That was insane.
And can people still see the short though that you guys made?
No, see, like when we were doing our TV show, we signed with this big agency. They were, and I'm not really sure exactly what they did, but somehow we ended up with a bunch of different production companies, and the production companies were taking us around and shopping the footage, and they'd do special edits and stuff, and we got to do cool stuff. We were in MTV, and I was acting like a complete dumbass, and we went to Fuse, we went to every TV network, and we were just like, well, we literally have been everywhere, presented in the best way we can, and it's a no. So I think we need to just let this one go, ultimately.
Alrighty, fair enough. Well, that's a little sad because I really like the short, and I would tell people to watch it if they could, but they can still hear the music.
Yeah, the music's still out there. And on top of the short, we filmed so much more stuff that never really got to see the light of day, which is sad because it was funny. We did a whole thing with Tony Horton, which I thought was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Like, I'm there like in a P90X commercial, basically, and I'm like doing pull-ups, like stepping on his back and all this weird stuff. And he has to like listen to my headphones connected to my tape player at my hip, and I just love doing some of that stuff. But yeah, maybe someday it'll find its way out. I mean, I never know when stuff is gonna be popular. Now people are hitting me up about my old songs from 10 years ago, and they're like resurging, and I would have never thought that. So I don't know what the future holds for that stuff.
So in terms of what you do know, what are you working on right now? Where can people find whatever you're up to right now?
Well, right now I'm recording a new album. I'm probably about halfway done with it. Been in the studio a bunch. It's been great getting back in the studio playing MySpace music. That you can find out on my Instagram, my Twitter. I post about it every day, what I'm doing. Start posting more musical clips and stuff soon as I start getting stuff back. And yeah, I'm gonna be really putting out a lot of music this year. I think now's the time.
This is the age of Jayce again?
Yeah, and I just got a new guitar, so I've been riffing all day. And so I think this new music is going to be, it obviously can't be the same because I'm just older, but I think it's going to be a surprise to people.
And is this going to be under Secret or some new project?
It's going to be Secret Dino Club. I was like, what? People know who I am. I don't need to change who I am. So I'm going to put this out. I'm going to show this new music and what I think, I don't know, what I think is the next logical step since the last album.
And people that want to hear this album that we're talking about, the Lost album, it's been found. It's on SoundCloud. You can download it.
You know what? I tried to, because I finally got it back, like it's mine again. Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to put together a collection for when I drop my new album. I also want to put out all my old songs on like one thing.
I like that.
So I'm trying to get a hold of them. I thought I had them, but even the ones on SoundCloud, they're not even like the final mixes. They were like, I don't even know.
I noticed that it's definitely not in the right order. Or I was like, oh, this is off. It's weird. My brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that's like that, and I'm definitely missing some files. I got some investigative work to do. I'm the worst at keeping files.
This is the problem with like coming up in the digital age is like you used to have all your stuff on MySpace and it wasn't on MySpace anymore. And it was like, you just you had to keep archives. No one told you.
Well, and since that album, I've probably recorded 300 songs or more. So even though it's some of the last music I put out, the amount of songs I've written for random things and people, that seems like 2 lifetimes ago.
Yeah.
Making songs. So it's the idea of finding those files when I've got so many files in my computers. I mean, that was like 4 computers ago. So, I gotta figure that out.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I bet there are some people who will listen to this that maybe have some of the ancient or random rare stuff that can throw it
I
together.
know, because one of my tactics when I was on MySpace is I would just have like thousands of people on my instant messenger, instant messenger. And every time I put a new song up or I had a new song, I would just message everyone on my instant messenger. And those people gotta have some MP3s out there.
Somewhere, if you're listening and you have Jayce's lost MP3s, send them to him.
You
Get a
have
hold
my
of him.
if you have my MP3s, send them my way because I don't have them anymore.
And if you still have the CDs, that would be pretty impressive. Take photos.
Yeah, someone showed me a song the other day, and I couldn't believe it was me. I was like, no, this isn't my song. I didn't write this. This isn't me singing. But sure enough, it was. Like, when?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you for too much longer because I've kept you for a bit now. But looking back, I mean, so you seem like you're pretty at peace with how everything unfolded.
Yeah. If I was bitter at this point, I would be pathetic. I don't know.
You and I both know people who are still bitter about things that happened in 2008 to their career.
I do. I know a lot of them, and it's like, well, it's so much later. I've accomplished, most of the goals I've set out to do. So I can't be bitter about that part of music. I mean, if I didn't go through that and all that craziness and all the frustration and stuff, I don't know that I would have been pushed to keep going. Things could be a lot different. I probably would have just kind of floated off into the sunset like most of the people who did from the MySpace days.
Or just become a DJ.
Yeah, or be a DJ, or do a DJ night, an emo night or something. But I don't know. I think looking back too, like maybe my songs, I don't want to sound like arrogant or something, but maybe those songs kind of hold up now a little better than some of the other music at that time. But maybe not. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
.com is maybe some of the references are out of date now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But a lot of the other songs on the album that came out, at least sonically, they sound all right. I listen to some of the other MySpace music. I'm like, this sounds crazy. It's like sonically, it just like, it's very crazy what became popular then. There was really no rules. It was the Wild West of sound.
Yeah. And to be fair, I mean, that's kind of your mantra. You kind of just make whatever you're interested in.
Yeah, if it sounds that way, then if it works, it works. And
all right. Well, dude, I like keeping up with you because you always have something new to tell me that you're working on. You're one of those people that always seems to have like 4 projects, and maybe I'll only get to like see one of them completed, but you always have at least 4 up in the air.
Yeah, I got a bunch of projects always going on. I got a new wrestling talk show.
Yeah, I forgot to plug the wrestling talk show.
Yeah, I gotta plug my wrestling talk show. We put out a new episode of that soon. The first one was received with a lot of fanfare, so I got to come back with some more.
All right, man.
Yeah, so if you're into professional wrestling, I'm the #1 source.
All right, and what should they look up on YouTube? What's the name of your show?
And just look up my name, Jayce Levi. It's called Big Huge Fan.
And it is fun. I don't really care for wrestling, but I think it's fun to watch. And yeah, you're all over the internet, so.
Well, I am. Well, thanks for having me on your podcast.
No problem, man. I'll be in LA in a couple of months, and hopefully we can actually get together that time.
Yeah,
But,
it sounds.
but until then, take care of yourself. Say hi to Atlee for me. Your lady makes great makeup tutorials.
Yes, she does make. I gotta plug her too.
Yeah, people can
know?
see you in those too sometimes.
Yeah, I make an appearance looking like a dumbass pretty much every time.
Well,
but
it's Valentine's Day, so it's good to give her a shout out.
yeah, very true.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you enjoy your day, but thanks so much for talking about all this stuff with me, and I hope we can listen to some of your new stuff soon.
Awesome, thanks, James.
All right, bye.